Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. A Town Square Media station.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I.
Turn your mic on in 3, 2, 1.
And you playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I run it back so it didn't take biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Radio Network. On social media, you can find us at Martin Houston Speaks on Facebook and on Twitter at Martin Houston Live on YouTube. We are so excited to have you with us each and every day. You can also check us out in replay mode at 12 o'clock p.m. each day. If you happen to miss the show, we broadcast it back live at 12 and at 7. And we bring in XO Sports Tide 109, Alabama Tradition, amongst others. So great way to stay connected and interact with us. And we're so glad that you do. Hey, listen, we have the traditional hotline where you can call up and give your thoughts, your comments, ask your questions, and be a part of the conversation at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Always open for business each and every day during the show. And I just want to say thank you to my callers for being educated and it being about the game of football or sports in general. Appreciate you and glad you're part of the show each and every day. And for all of those of you who tune in on chat, for putting and posing great questions and comments there that we work into the conversation. Couldn't do this each and every day without you. So just want to say thank you as we're coming up on Thanksgiving. Want to know that I'm grateful for having you guys and gals as a part of the program. So speaking of that, you can interact with us today regarding true false. We got a couple true false questions that's kind of carryover, and we'll have some variations of those from carryover from yesterday. We're going to probably throw in a few other topics and be kind of a carryover from yesterday on a Wild Card Wednesday that we didn't get to all of the topics that we had up, including the Kiffin and Saban and Dabo and Kiffin and top 3 changes. Would you go after Muschamp? Who's your offensive coordinator? All of those things, man. We'll still keep the conversation rolling right here on the Martin Houston Show with you and yours. And so we'll continue to do that. Another true false question I got out there. What about Kirby? Has Kirby now we talk about the Georgia being the new Alabama. Well, that comes with more than just winning. The new Alabama comes with your coaching staff is the one that gets rated, because now people want to do what you do and how you do it. So is Kirby now, will he be able to maintain the dynasty the way Saban did? Because of the the carousel. It started last year as his DC headed off to Oregon, and we'll see if it happens this year. Ask Coach Dabo Swinney, what you do when you lose your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator that you had for a decade of coaching. What's the impact? So a lot to get to. And we want to invite you to stay tuned with us all morning long and get there with us. Remember this, trust in the Lord always and rejoice, because this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Oh, yeah, and that bringing you in reminds me that we also have Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Talk a little recruiting, big day on the capstone in recruiting. Yesterday, following up one good class with another. We'll talk specifics with Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting in that situation. We got a couple true-false questions we want to get to, but Aiden, who's pressing all the right buttons today. Good morning, Aiden. How you doing, sir?
Well, they ain't been pressed yet, but I appreciate it. I'm doing great this morning, Martin.
All right. Well, hey, listen, man. We were having some off the stage conversation. You said you had something that you wanted to bring up and ask Xavier and I. So let's get to that before we get into that other conversation we were talking about. What's on your mind, sir?
Well, I sent it to both of you guys, the statement that Dan Snyder, the owner of the illustrious Washington Commanders organization, put out yesterday regarding the announcement that's pending today from DC Attorney General Rancine, where the Attorney General has been investigating him for potentially criminal wrongdoing in various manners for over a year now, and he decided to say that, oh, well, why are you worried about that when you should be worried about finding the guys that shot Brian Robinson Jr.? So I just want to know, like, is this Dan Snyder throwing our Hillcrest Patriot out as like a human shield for himself now?
Wow, X, true, false. Did Dan Snyder? That is so bad. Did Dan Snyder use, in the words of Aiden, did Dan Snyder use Ryan Robinson as a human shield or a deflecto shield to keep the spotlight off of him and the Commanders and all that he has going on there?
I'm going to say true, simply for the fact both young men have been arrested already.
Yeah. So first of all, his statement's not true that they haven't pursued that and done correct what they're supposed to be doing. But let's say that wasn't true. What would that have to do with him? I mean, that and I'm not trying to be ugly. Somebody tell me how these folks keep their jobs, do their jobs, and make their legacy. If the University of Alabama was involved in a scandal and there was a shooting of an Alabama football player, what story y'all think gonna hit the paper?
I mean, I think both should be. Both are important for different
I'm not
reasons.
saying which one. I didn't say which one was important. Now, if we start reporting news and stories on importance, then a lot of this stuff we see on the nightly news and all of that, then we're gonna have to make some adjustments. Well, hey, Aiden, what's the old saying, Aiden? If it bleeds, it leads, unless unless something else is a lot more important.
Yeah.
If you think people, and let me tell you something. I didn't say killed. I said just shot, and it being a couple months down the road. Man, they would be all over the paper if Nick Saban and this program was in trouble, and they were getting ready to break that story. Because everybody already know, for instance, everybody would already know such and such Alabama player has been shot and all of that. This is new news that they're getting ready to break. Who wants to know Which one do you want to know more? Let me ask you this way, you guys. Which one you want to know more, true or false? You would want to know, hey, what's this story that they spent a year and some change investigating at the University of Alabama, or who shot ABC player? I mean,
That's definitely what they've been spending a year plus trying to figure out. Simply based off the fact, once again, if you mirror this situation, whatever player was shot, they've already caught the guys that've done it.
Right.
You know that case is moving forward. We know what's going to happen with that. There's going to be a trial, potential conviction, and those people are going to be sent away.
Yeah.
Versus, this is all new.
Yeah, and Aiden, I said we do a little version of Wild Card Wednesday on this Thursday. Aiden, we got a lot of Alabama. If there weren't Alabama guys up there, probably wouldn't care as much about this Washington Redskins. But there's 5 or 6 Alabama guys who are impacted by the chaos and the craziness of this owner. I mean, he's had something going on, whether you agree or disagree with the Redskins being a problem, you know, is a moot point at this point. But that whole thing went on. And then while that was going on, you had all of the sexual issues, whether you agree or disagree, and whether you believe there's some truth or a lot of truth, there's somewhere in the middle, or all of it, or none of it. None of that mattered. This guy has always been, you know, I mean, he's just not been a good leader per se in the way he's ran that organization, in my opinion, which could end up impacting some Alabama guys' program. But Aiden, you're from that area, man. What's the thoughts of this guy and up that way from you guys, and from up that way, and what's the craziness that goes on with this Commander team?
Well, Martin, we've been trying to tell the world about Dan Snyder for 20 or more years. I mean, my entire life. I mean, when he purchased the team in '99, the bad decisions started immediately. You know, first and foremost, he was the first one to charge fans money to go to training camp and watch the guys work out during the summer. And then he was the first one to limit.
Hold on. The Commander fans pay to go watch training camp?
Yep. And we can only go for like 1 or 2 days out of the whole camp.
Oh, wow. Neat story. Aiden, I wasn't with the Steelers very long, but one of the neat experiences I had in my little brief stint in the NFL was we got to practice, the Steelers practice against the Redskins at their camp.
Were you guys in Ashburn or at St. Vincent?
Ashburn. We came to you guys. And so I scored a touchdown in that scrimmage, and it was right at the goal line, and Darryl Green, yeah, right?
Oh yeah, Darryl Green. Oh yeah.
Met me at the goal line, man, and I crushed him. Like I hit him, and the first thing hit was his butt. Like I was still standing up over him at the goal line, and just stopped when I ran over him. So anyway, as a sidebar, but that was one of the neat memories that I had of playing against him. I forgot about that till you brought that up. But yeah, go ahead, man. That guy's a very interesting dude.
Well, you know, running over Darryl Green's a big deal. He's an all-time player for that team. You know, so the training camp thing happened, and then when the 2008 financial crisis happened, he started suing people who couldn't afford their season tickets anymore. He literally sued an old woman into bankruptcy after her husband passed, and she could no longer afford the season tickets. That happened. You know, the sexual harassment issues have been going on for well over a decade, and they've just kind of been underreported by the national media until recently. And then there's also just the slew of poor management of the team decisions, the decision to keep Vinny Serrato around as long as he did, the decision to bring in Bruce Allen and then keep him around for a decade just because his dad is a big deal in the franchise, and they were buddy. Rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins. That was Dan Snyder's pick. It was a terrible decision. It's so much is going on there.
Yeah, and now what's this interesting thing, X? And I don't know if you know this. The stadium itself and in itself is like its own municipality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing that it's like a 4 square mile radius, and fans have to either pay him for parking or walk to the stadium. They cannot Uber or ride share in the city, in the municipality of Landover. X, is that not crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean the guy. Hey, listen. I mean, I guess he didn't get to be a big money man, multi-millionaire, billionaire, whatever he is, without being a shrewd businessman. But I think his days are numbered, and we'll see that happen probably sooner rather than later, especially based on what this story is going to be. So, hey, we'll get to break. That was a little version of a little wild card Wednesday, a little true false on this Thursday. We do have a couple other true false questions. X, Aiden actually ended up doing a story yesterday about the OC. So one true false question I want you to be thinking about before we come back is true false. Is Dooley in the driver's seat to be Alabama's next offensive coordinator? And a part 2 of that question, if not, will Saban still follow a similar route by finding a former NFL type guy and or someone that's been a part of his coaching tree / organization in the likes of like a Coach Judge, who was the head coach at the Giants? We'll ask that question and answer it right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. If you got a true false question, you want to throw it in the chat box or call us up at 205-342-9904. You can do that. The Alabama One hotline is open for business.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks, only minor congestion on McFarland in the construction zone of Northport and on US 69 South near Skyland and Colusa. If you see other conditions, of course, give me a call. Townsend Nissan says thanks to our veterans with an extra $500 off any new or used vehicle. Check out the details now at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
Tuscaloosa Locksmith sells key remotes, remote fobs, smart keys, car remotes, and Black Rifle coffee. They also do laser engraving. Tuscaloosa Locksmith, just off 15th Street behind the fire station.
Hey there, folks. Head fry cook Bob Baumhauer here, and I just want to say thank you for allowing Baumhauer's Victory Grill to serve you for 40 legendary years. When I first delivered Alabama's first taste of buffalo wings back in 1981, people thought I was crazy. For the first few years, I had to give wings away. Imagine that. 40 years later, I'm still proud to serve the great people and visitors of Alabama, our famous buffalo wings, and much more. Here's to 40 years of legendary fun, legendary food, and many, many more.
O'Reilly. See better and drive safer with Rain-X Advantage wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase a pair of Rain-X Advantage wiper blades and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At Target, Black Friday deals are happening right now. Save on the hottest gifts to get ahead this holiday, like must-have toys, the latest tech, and incredible offers to get your home holiday ready. You'll discover new Black Friday deals each week in stores and at Target.com. And make holiday shopping easier than ever using free drive-up, free order pickup, and same-day delivery. Get low prices and great deals so you can holiday your way. Only at Target. Exclusions apply.
See America in your new Burton Campers RV. Be certain with Burton. Burton Campers at exit 231 on I-65 in Calera. Nobody sells RVs for less.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Clouds gradually increasing today. Tuscaloosa's high 74. Tonight, mostly cloudy. A small chance of some light rain after midnight, the low 62. For tomorrow, breezy and cooler. The sky mostly cloudy during the day, the high at 69. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 50 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
All right. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Man, we had an interesting conversation there. Man, getting some good got a good name. Hadn't thought about to throw in the OC conversation, but let's first of all do the true false. Is Dooley, in the driver's seat based on Saban's prior thought process for picking OCs in the past, of going with somebody on staff already in the program until he went out and got Bill O'Brien. Does he fall back to his old ways and bring Dooley in? X?
I hope it's false. Yeah, I mean, I not that I don't think he could do a good job. I just think you need to go outside the program. Maybe someone that has a younger, a little bit more fire, a little bit more willing to be like a Lane Kiffin and press it, push it, move that needle that the offense is going to need, where you don't have to have your quarterback be an all-time great for the team to be successful.
Hating true false.
I'm in the same boat as X. I hope the answer is no. I wouldn't be shocked by that move, but I hope the answer is no.
Aiden, you did an article, your top 5 candidates. A couple of them are some of the guys we talked about on yesterday. We had talked about Garrett Riley, Lincoln's younger brother, as a possible option. And we talked about Kendall Browse being a possible option, but you also threw in Casey Woods. I think SMU scored like 100 points the other day. And
only 100?
Do it now.
I said, was it only 100?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to watch the game, but I was watching the ticker on the score. I think both teams were playing 7-on-7 against air, but I don't know much about him, but he's you threw out Joe Brady. I thought it was interesting. A guy was on with Ryan the other day, one of his regular guests from Louisiana, and he said what Joe Brady did when he was at LSU. Everybody talks about it being how he developed Joe Burrow. He said it wasn't that he developed Joe Burrow. It was that he developed the wide receivers who made Joe Burrow's skill set look even better. Which interesting thought, because you take and you think about it, is Bryce Young a worse or better quarterback this year? Well, you say you could make the argument that he's worse, but is he worse because of the receivers and their lack of development? So, I'm not sure. Then you have Frank Wright. just recently fired head coach. Interesting thought there. And then somebody else threw out one more name on chat. Elijah Ford said, "What about Kevin Sumlin?" So, you think about it. That's a couple names there. Which one of those guys you going with, X?
Out of that group, I'm going to go with Garrett Riley. The way he calls games is very similar to the way that Kendall did and everything that does. And I like the fact that he separated himself from his brother and is creating his own name, not on staff with his brother and like, well, it's just Kendall calling the plays and Garrett's getting the credit. But I think his ability and what Kendall's done with quarterbacks that were Baker Mayfield, a transfer, a walk-on, first number 1 overall pick, Heisman Trophy winner. Same that goes with Kyler Murray, transferred from Texas A&M, see what he's done, number 1 overall pick. And now you look at Jalen Hurts, transferred from Bama, had a lot of success. And, Kendall had his hand in that, and as well as Garrett. But you're looking at a track record that these guys have at developing quarterbacks and getting them to the best level and the best of their ability.
Who's your guy, A?
Just to differentiate from X, because he, honestly, Garrett Riley would be my favorite too. But just to differentiate, Joe Brady, because whoever called into Ryan's show is absolutely right. His official role at LSU was passing game coordinator / wide receivers coach.
Yep.
I mean, he is at least partly responsible for turning Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson into what they are, which is prolific NFL talents. Even better than Devontae Smith's doing in Philadelphia, on the level of what Jalen Waddle's doing in Miami. Certainly more than Judy's been able to do in Denver so far. And Joe Burrow really did go from just kind of an average quarterback to, hey, is that the greatest college football season we've ever seen in 1 year, the one lone year of Joe Brady in LSU?
Yeah, you can't ignore that because it kind of speaks for itself. And you look at how different a player Burrow is in Cincinnati when, his top dog is not playing or healthy. So, it's the same. He couldn't have asked for anything better in terms of what happened to his NFL career. It's picking up right where he left off. So, and I would say about Raleigh, I haven't got to watch a lot of TCU, but to me, this is what I love about good offensive coordinators. They come into the game and they script their plays, right, guys? But sometimes they script them wrong because people adjust. How many times this year has TCU been down at some point in the first quarter to the second quarter and even halftime, only to come back and just have an offensive explosion in the third and fourth quarter this year? I mean, that tells me that – go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was multiple times where you've seen Riley change the way the game is gone through his play calling.
And that's what makes a great offensive coordinator is they set a game plan, they run their plays, they script them out, they look at what you do against those plays, and those plays that they script out many times are concept plays, guys, meaning that they have a whole set of plays around that play. In other words, if they run this route combination, there's another whole set of plays that will work and that they can run variations of it if it works, or they can trash it if it doesn't. Same thing in the run game. They can run this play, but and based on how you play it, they have a conceptual number of plays that they can run and or go to, because if you stop this, then you can't stop this. A.J. McCarron, you say you can't take away everything. Good offensive coordinators figure out what you came in to take away and then adjust. And to me, that's what Raleigh has done game in and game out at TCU. And they've done it very effectively. The game this past weekend, Texas Tech had them, I think, 17-7 or something. And I was like, uh-oh. I turned back, and it was like 31-17. So both offensive and defensively, they make some adjustments. Sumlin, Wright would be a guy. I'm going to tell you, Frank Wright would be a guy that he would go with, guys, because he fits what mold? Older, former NFL guy. Judge would be a guy he would go with, been in this program. Dooley fits the mold. We'll have to watch and see what he does. We can have some more conversation on that. But we need to get to some recruiting with Hank South 247 Sports. So lots of conversation, man. Just not enough time to get to it in each hour. That's why we keep it rolling right on the Martin Hughes Show. Come back on the other side. We're going to bring in Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting.
This is a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
I'm Kim Rankin with your Tide Sports Update. Alabama football fell to number 9 in this week's college football playoff ranking. Sports Illustrated's Kevin Hansen has projected Bryce Young to go as the number 1 overall pick in his most recent mock draft. Former Alabama wide receiver Jamison Williams is projected to make his professional debut in December.
This has been a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update. Run it again! For more info on these stories and more, download the Tide 100.9 app.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Anticipation is building. Holidays are just around the corner, and at the Home Depot, we can't wait. With Black Friday savings all through November, you can count down to Christmas early with a Santa Countdown Inflatable Special Buy, only $69.98. Or anticipate when friends and family come to visit with an entrance full of LED lights that will welcome them and the holidays with open arms. Get the holiday magic started early. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Don't miss a play at the Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Your front row seat to all the action. Place bets on all professional and most college sports at the counter, kiosk, or on your phone. Then catch the game on one of our 20 big screens from the comfort of the newly remodeled Timeout Lounge. Plus, the PRR Sports app gives you access to live, in-play sports betting. Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Be more than a fan. Be a player. Must be 21.
Hi, I'm Capri, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the chicken. They actually put it on the grill, cooked it in the sauce. It's definitely a good grilled spicy sandwich.
Hey, I'm Michelle, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is it's spicy and it's full of flavor. When you pair that with the Kale Crunch Salad, it's just good.
Order a grilled spicy deluxe sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, powered by Pepsi.
We want to make sure that kids in our area have a Merry Christmas. And here's how you can help out during the 75th anniversary of Toys for Tots. Come meet up with us at area Walmart locations as we broadcast live and drop off a new unwrapped toy. Your toy donation will help a child who might not have received a gift this holiday season. Help deliver hope. For more details, log on to TuscaloosaThread.com.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We're getting ready to be joined by Hank South of 247 Sports and Bama Online Recruiting on the Alabama One hotline. How you doing this morning, Hank?
Hey, I'm good, Xavier. How are you?
Doing good. Hank, yesterday was early signing day for basketball. Alabama signs 4 guys. Let's talk about those guys a little bit and what they mean to the program moving forward.
Yeah, it was a pretty seamless signing day for Alabama. They entered the day with 4 commitments, and all 4 guys, obviously, they're still committed, and they signed before noon. So it was pretty much all out of the way. There was no signing day drama. It all kind of transpired as expected. Bama signed what is now currently the number 13 class per the 24/7 Sports rankings with Caden Cooper. I'm sorry, not Caden Cooper. Sam Walters, Mo Diabate, R.J. Johnson, and Davin Cosby. And, you know, a lot of excitement around these 4 guys that have been committed. Bama's landed them over the course of the last few months. Most recently, Mo Diabate committed, but, you know, Nadeau's talked about them yesterday, and that he put out a press release with his thoughts on them, and the biggest thing he was saying was, the staff values shooting, athleticism, and versatility, and that's exactly what all 4 of these guys bring to the table, and they're with Walters and Diabate as 2 power forwards, Cosby's a shooting guard, and then R.J. Johnson's a combo guard. So they fill a lot of their needs. Johnson, they stayed in state, were able to get the state's top player, who's from Grissom High School. So overall, big class, and Bama would like to get some more good news on Saturday with Caden Cooper, their kind of last outstanding 2023 high school target right now, who's going to announce a decision on Saturday between Alabama and Oklahoma and a few others. So we're on the lookout for that. I think Bama could get some good news there, and that would obviously propel the class into the top 10 range.
Awesome. So of these guys, who do you think has the most immediate impact once they are on campus?
That's a good question. I guess I would go Diabate. They're all maybe Sam Walters. He's been a guy that's really developed at a solid trajectory. But we'll see. I mean, you never know. We saw the other night in the season opener, Noah Clowney stepped in and shined right out of the gate. So I think we were all talking about Brandon Miller and Jaden Bradley for good reason in the off season entering this season, and Noah Clowney was kind of the kind of forgotten 4-star, not forgotten, but they got less talked about, and he came out and had one of the best games. So Sam Walters, Diabate, I think if Caden Cooper commits, he could be a guy, but I think all of them, there's reasons for excitement. I think they all have high ceilings and bring a lot to the table.
Hank, let me jump in here real quick before you go to your next question. Hank, you mentioned those freshmen kind of being the show the other night. It looks like Nate's going to try to see if he can get the best players on there and get them ready, even though they're the young guys. Have you talked to any of the other guys that Bama may be recruiting, and even the young man you mentioned as a possible get on Saturday, of seeing that? Remember, the question used to be, does Nick Saban playing freshmen and stuff like that help him on the recruiting trail? Have you seen that same impact potentially for Nadeau?
A little bit, Caden Cooper, the guy we're waiting on, he's not really talking this week. He's kind of shut down and gone into decision mode and shut out the media. But, and whenever we talk to recruits or their coaches, their parents, they always talk about how, Nate Oates lets he lets the best guys play, he lets his players play kind of freely, that they move up and down the court. They're just having fun. And that's kind of always, what the first thing they say. They just love Nate Oates' system. And so, they take notice of it. And yeah, Nate Oates is going to play the best guys, the guys that, similar to Alabama football, it's all competition. There's nobody's spot safe. If you're performing the best in practice or, you're having the best showing, you're going to get your opportunity. So, I think, we certainly saw it the other night against Longwood. We saw Clowney, we saw Brandon Miller. We all expected Brandon Miller to kind of be that guy that's going to come in and have an immediate impact. But, obviously, Clowney as well. We saw Riley Griffin play well. We saw some of the transfer portal guys make an impact. So, certainly a lot of new faces that are showing out. And, that's kind of where we're at in college basketball. These guys, and the level that Bama's recruiting at, they're recruiting these kids that, could be one and done players. So obviously we're going to see these kids come in and show out quickly.
All right, we're joined by Hank South of 247 Sports and Bama Online Recruiting on the Alabama One hotline. As we transition over to talk some football recruiting, we're joined by Pat on the Alabama One hotline. Good morning, Pat. How you doing?
Good morning, fellas. Hey, morning, Hank. Hank, where do we go for a linebacker to assist? I think with Jefferson, we're bringing in perhaps the fastest linebacker Alabama's seen in quite a few decades. Would you not agree that Jefferson is extremely fast?
Hey, guys, we're working on getting Hank back right now.
Yeah, and while he's doing that, Pat, did we lose the LSU game because we had slow linebackers, big linebackers, fast linebackers, or linebackers who couldn't stop tough running backs? Because I watched the Georgia game earlier that day, and their linebackers seemed to be big and fast, and able to stop the run while also covering. So I know Jefferson's fast, but will we be able to handle the Georgia and LSU model? How many times did Tennessee's running backs? We talk about the passing game, but go back and watch how many times their running back, when they came out and it was 2nd and 10, their running backs got 6-7 yards on second down. So
yeah, but you're absolutely right, Martin. But hey, the biggest thing was that running quarterback. Hey, if we got linebackers that can get on that running quarterback until he can get some assistance, you know what I'm saying?
But Pat, the problem isn't the problem wasn't the speed or size of the linebackers on the running quarterback. We didn't spy him. Our guys were in coverage, so the middle of the field was open. That's why LSU's quarterback had so much success running the ball. But we need to get back to Hank's back with us, Pat. Repeat your question for him.
Yes, sir.
Repeat your question for him, Pat.
Okay. Again, Hank. Question is with linebackers, where do we go? Do we go to Ole Miss to be able to get another linebacker to go with Jefferson? Jefferson looks to be extremely fast, but we need to show up the middle of that defense, and then where in the world are we going to get some defensive linemen? And can we get Mateo to come in with Keeley? That would give us bookends again. We haven't had bookends in some time. But even now, we're not doing what we need to do as far as defensive ends go.
Yeah, linebackers one of the spots they're going to try to finish strong at. Perkins, the Ole Miss commit, and Terry Perkins, who's committed to Ole Miss. That's one we're still watching closely. He looked like he was about to flip over the summer, didn't do it. Looked like he was about to flip again after the Texas A&M game, didn't do it. Still committed to Ole Miss. But if we see Lane Kiffin take another job or go elsewhere, or if Bama just keeps pushing for him, I think that could be one that could come down to signing day where he makes a final choice and potentially flips. But beyond Perkins, Arian Carter, the rising Tennessee linebacker that everyone wants, that's committed to Memphis right now. He's not going to sign with Memphis. He's going to sign with another school. I think he's going to end up at Bama when all is said and done. He's a big linebacker target. And then interesting name that popped up this week is Anthony Hill, the 5-star linebacker that decommitted from Texas A&M. All signs all signs are pointing to Texas right now. He's about to visit Austin, and that's the school trending for him. But if you look back at his recruitment, he's been very fond of Bama throughout the past. He's taken an official visit to Tuscaloosa. He went to one of their playoff practices last January or last winter. He's been to Tuscaloosa a couple other times. So a guy that Bama is definitely going to kick the tires on and see if there's still any possibility that he's interested there. But another linebacker target to watch. And then you mentioned the bookend type guys. Keeley, I still think is I think he's leaning Bama. Everyone's kind of like, what's he waiting on? Good question. Not sure. But I think Bama's still probably in the driver's seat, battling Ohio State for that one. Mateo Ugalele, I think, there's interest in Bama, but, it just, nothing's really kind of come up since the summer or even before then. So I think, that's probably an outside looking in type thing. But they've got other edge guys that they love. Obviously they have Yonze Pierre, who had a stellar senior season or had a stellar senior season. They like Quay Rousseau a lot, who's that edge outside linebacker type. And so they've got options. We'll see who else they go after. But Keeley, Rousseau, those are some big targets. Damon Wilson, I know that's probably not going to happen, but a guy they remain in contact with. And you asked about defensive line. I think they've got obviously James Smith. I think that's a must get kind of kid. One kid's not going to make or break the class, especially in the transfer portal era. But James Smith is your top player in the state. You want to get him. So that's certainly a guy they're circling to add in the early signing period. Reuben Bain, another big one. We've seen of late Jordan Hall out of Jacksonville. So they've got some big guys that they're in the mix with to add. I would say David Hobbs, but I think things are kind of simmering there. I think Georgia, Tennessee are part of the team in the mix there. Not saying Bama's not recruiting him, but I'm not sure how big of a press they're making right now as we get into the later parts of the fall. Lots of questions still, or lots of guys still in play, and definitely will make for an exciting signing period.
All right, Pat, we appreciate you. You have a good Thursday. Pat, Hank, thank you for joining us again on a Thursday, breaking down some recruiting for us. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. BamaOnline.com. Obviously got lots of recruiting, lots of team coverage ahead of this weekend. And then my Twitter handle is @HankSouth247.
All right, that is Hank South at 247 Sports and Bama Online Recruiting. Remember, you can follow him at Hank South 247, the best follow in recruiting.
All right, coming back on the other side, we'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on your home for Alabama Sports, Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks, only minor congestion on McFarland in the construction zone of Northport and on US 69 South near Skyland and Colusa. If you see other conditions, of course, give me a call. Townsend Nissan says thanks to our veterans with an extra $500 off any new or used vehicle. Check out the details now at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning. About the only impacts we will see from Hurricane Nicole as it moves into Florida and then southern Georgia is rain and a few gusty winds across Alabama. September, October here in West Alabama. But we're being told that the rain that will come tomorrow through Saturday morning will not stay long enough to make many changes. There are currently 14 wildfires burning across the state, one in Walker County. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our Pep Talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Black Friday deals, the gifts are unreal.
Shop new Black Friday deals this weekend at JCPenney. We got your holiday.
Hey, are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing what you love. It affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Hey, it's Gary Harris. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now. Appointments are available for this coming week. QC Kinetics. Call 205-686-1941. That's 205-686-1941 with locations in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. 205-686-1941. QC Kinetics.
Hurry in to Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale. Get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with qualifying Sealy purchase. Or shop Tempur-Pedic and get a $300 instant gift. Mattresses and bases are in stock for fast delivery. With our Love Your Mattress guarantee, get the lowest price and 120 nights to sleep on it. Only at Mattress Firm. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's now the head into our 2-minute warning. I want to remind you that go ahead and make plans to take advantage of the Alabama One Black Wednesday sale, November 23rd from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. The earlier you get in, the better rate you qualify for, and we'll qualify you based on the 48-month rate, but you can extend that loan up to 84 months. Look for those rates to be published at the beginning of next week, middle of next week, I should say, next Wednesday. And then also don't forget, it pays to have friends. Get 10, give 10. If you refer a friend and they get a qualified loan and or open a qualified checking account, you get 10 and they get 10. That's Refer a Friend. Both of those programs, as well as others, can be found at alabama1.org. Alabama One together. What's your one? All right, X. Let me see. Pat talking about the fast linebackers. I think that Alabama, guys, you have to ask, is there an issue with recruiting or just development? And X, I think it has to be the development side because, I mean, let's be honest. We're not going to win a championship this year, barring some type of absolute catastrophic failure on LSU's part and several others. We're going to have to win Saturday first and foremost. That's my first biggest concern. But even with that said, but do you feel like, boy, can't wait to get to next year? Are you worried, X? Closing thoughts.
Yeah, I am worried to a certain degree. We haven't seen the consistent development. And that's why one of the other things we were talking the other day about changes we would make, I'm probably making a change at the wide receiver coach position. We aren't seeing those guys get developed. You're not seeing guys get open. But these guys are all 4 and 5 stars. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, to me, you can look at every position and say, barring our quarterback, what position on this team is really better? Maybe outside linebacker, but what do you think Sal Sunseri would have done with this group of outside linebackers?
Well, I know we were talking and excited about this cheetah package, but honestly, it hasn't been overwhelming. It's been very underwhelming as a whole. You know, Will still has 7 sacks, I think, on the season. If you look at this year outside of what he did last year, that's really good through 9 games. But then you look at Dallas and Braswell, and the numbers aren't there, especially with the attention that Will gets. Those guys should be making more plays with one-on-one situations.
Yeah. And Coach was saying, why didn't we ever put Anderson and Turner in a wide 9, get them out there on that edge, more away from the double team? And I had even talked about this, and I'll get your response. We got to get out of here, X. But why do we have Will Anderson's hand in the dirt at the goal line against LSU? I just want you to think on that for a second. If Will Anderson is up, he can push that. He could play the run from up, but he'd also been up in that quarterback's face, and he wouldn't have had such a clear corner to throw that pass, possibly even a tip ball. But he was down in the dirt like an extra lineman. They've
been with him most of the year, and I think that's a big issue that has hurt him and the defense as a whole.
Yeah, and you put that guy down in the dirt, and all of a sudden, you got an edge. So anyway, Will Anderson, all these guys, I think they have unfortunately been the victim of less coaches, less skilled, experienced coaches in developing them at a high level. We got to get out of here. We'll be back on tomorrow, though. Same bat time, same bat channel. For X and Aiden, I'm Martin Houston. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Roll Tide out there, everybody.
Let's all celebrate and have a good time.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks or major traffic issues this morning. McFarland eastbound is pretty steady coming into Northport and literally the same southbound into downtown. If you see other conditions, give me a call. Townsend Nissan says thanks to our veterans with an extra $500 off any new or used vehicle. Check out the details now at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
You know what happens in a plasma chamber?
Big stuff. Science stuff.
Diamonds. I'm Tom Osmond. Fincher & Osmond Jewelers carries artisan-created diamonds.